Hello and welcome. It's me, Mars44, and I'm back with another Cardfight Vanguard Crayon deck profile. Today's deck profile, we have the I think he's a tiger. So the tiger that shows the Nova Grapplers how to rumble with their opponents. Strongest Beast Deity, Ethics Buster Extreme. So Ethics Buster Extreme, really good card. Loving this deck, and I cannot stop using it. Actually, um, it it it's an amazing deck, and it just it's it's a monster, and it really does show how Nova Grapplers work, just like Death Army Kaiser shows that. This really shows it even more with this new meta. Um, but yeah, just an incredible deck, and I recommend trying it out if you're a very aggressive person. With, decks, not aggressive as in aggressive. Yeah. Alright, let's begin. So our starter, Beast Deity, Riot Horn. So, basically what it does, of course, the usual. When another unit from the same clan rides, you call it the rear. What you want to do is you don't want to have it behind your Vanguard, though, because of his skill. Because you're going to have it all game, pretty much. So, what he does is when another rear guard with Beast Deity in its card name stands, becomes stand in the same column as his unit, you get to stand him. So he basically assures another 10k drop from your opponent. 10k shield drop. So he's very good for this deck, and especially with all the aggression in this deck, he's very good and just combos so nicely. But yeah, so let's go to our grade 3s. 4 strongest Beast Deity, Ethics Buster, Extreme. So if you don't know what he does, his limit break 4 when its drive check reveals grade 1 or greater card with Beast Deity in its card name, you get to choose one of your Nova Grappler rear guards and stand it. And then if you have an Ethic Buster in the soul, he's a 13k body at all time. So with this, the only card that's not Beast Deity would be triggers. So anything you drive check, any grade 1 or greater, you're standing. If it's a Riot Horn column, you get to stand the whole column again for another 10k drop. If it's another column as well, because of Max Beast, that's another 10k drop. The minimum you can, with his limit break, the minimum you can drop from your opponent's hand that turn is 50k. The minimum is 50. No, well, actually, no, it's 45k, depending, because I say 50k because everybody guards 15 for the Vanguard, but the minimum would really be 45k because you could just drop 10 for the Vanguard. But yeah, that's 45k minimum per turn, which is quite powerful. Very powerful actually. It's just quite a monster deck, and yeah, with 45k minimum per turn, I guess depending on what you have on your other rearguard circle, if it's a vibro and it can't really hit anything, then I'd say 40k minimum. But normally I'd say 45k minimum, because normally they have rearguards that you can hit, so that's no big deal. But yeah, it's quite a monster deck, and with thinking about 45k minimum per turn, their hand would be so small by the third turn you use his limit break. So it's just a monster deck. It shows how much potential Nova Grapplers have. Extreme, we all love you. You show us what they can do. So yeah, he's just crazy powerful and not fair. And then for our other grade 3, for Beast Deity Ethics Buster, I actually I don't lose. It's very rare when I lose with this deck as well, because of how much aggression they put on the aggression they put on your opponent. Because I learned how to handle with the small hand. Get it? Handle with small hand. But yeah, it's quite devastating on your opponent. It's a little devastating for you because of your small hand, but once you get used to it, and get the hang of it, like Kamui does, you'll be fine. You'll know what you're doing. So anywho, Ethics Buster. If you don't know what he does, Limit Break 4, when a Nova Grappler rides it, you may choose one of your Vanguards, and it gains 10,000 in auto Vanguard. When your Vanguard attacks, you stand your Nova Grappler rear guards in your front row. So because you have a Riot Horn, he restands. And the second you use, if you break Riot Extreme on him, well then, and you put a grade 1 or something, the guy behind the one that's not, the grade 1 that's behind the grade 2 that didn't get the stand, gets the stand now. Maybe you'll get another one, and you lost Riot Horn because you're fighting Kagero and Murakami, but that happens sometimes, but it's not too big of a deal. It's not like you're completely wasting his limit break. Even riding Ethics Buster and Ethics Buster is pretty good too. The reason I just prefer riding Extreme on Ethics Buster as soon as possible is because of how much pressure you put on the second Extreme's limit break comes on. So with that crazy ass pressure, it's just too much. And that's why I prefer riding Ethics Buster Extreme on Ethics Buster as soon as possible. With the Break Ride. If you have to ride Ethics Buster on Ethics Buster, just do it. But yeah, the other way is probably better. So yeah. Anywho, we should just move on to grade 2, I guess. So 4, Deity, Damned Leo. 10k vanillas. Very important in this deck actually, especially for the early aggression the deck plays. Because what it does with the early aggression is, you know, a lot of the time I have Vanguard Damn Leo with Rearguard Hatred Chaos and with the Riot Horn behind him, and then on the other side I have another Damn Leo. So I get Damn Leo to attack first, the Rearguard one, then I get my Vanguard to attack. If I pull a stand, the other one gets to restand with power. If I pull a crit, you know what happens. If I pull a heal, you know what happens. And then Hatred Chaos gets his turn, and maybe Damn Leo goes again. So it really, really, really helps pressuring early on. And just it's quite a monster. And it just helps. It's very good. 10k vanillas are very important in Nova Grapplers because they need to hit those certain marks because of how much, you know, because of the stands and everything. They need to hit certain marks, and he helps hit those marks, and he can eliminate any rear guards you want to if he gets a restand with like Limit Break or Breakride or something. But yeah, he's very, very good, very helpful, very important. And then we have 4 Deity, Hatred Chaos. So your 4 12k beaters. I was gonna say 10k. No, those are for later. But yeah, your 4 12k beaters, very, very important. Especially for this deck, how I explained it with the stands. Because if he's on the rear guard, if he's on the other rear guard, it's a little better than Damn Leo. But if you don't have him, that's why we have Damn Leo. And then we have 4 Deity, I don't know how to pronounce it. We'll just call him Papio. 4 Deity, Papio. Screw his other name. We'll call him B-Babio. I can't even pronounce the other one. So basically what he does is you counterblast 1 when this unit attack hits a Vanguard. If you have an Overgrappler you counterblast 1 card with Deity in its card name. And if you have an Overgrappler Vanguard, you get to stand one of your Overgrappler rear guards. So basically he's quite a monster, especially with max Bs behind him, because you can keep just restanding both of them if your opponent can't guard and end the game. Because of how much shield you drop from them. So you could just do that for fun. Or you could just stand your Hatred Chaos with Riot Horn and just plow. Just smack him upside the head with some Hatred Chaos. Some Chaos of Hatred. But yeah, he's a really good card. I did play 2 Golden Anglets and 2 of him before, but I found the Golden Anglets were way too slow in this deck. He makes the deck so much better, especially with how much pressure, stand pressure Extreme puts on. He helps put on more stand pressure. So it just he helps complete the deck more, and playing 4 of him is a lot better than playing Golden Anglet. Golden Anglet was working way too slow in this deck for me, and it wasn't right, and so I completely dumped it out of the deck, and it runs so much more better, so much more smoother, and much more consistent because of it. He's a nice Vanguard ride too if you want to pressure for standing your rear guard that already attacked. So that's good too if you don't ride Damn Leo, and if you have him as a second option. That made I don't even know if that made sense, but it's fine. So on to grade ones. So your 4 Beast Deity Max Beast. Very important. Of course. So auto rearguard, counterblast 1. I don't know why I said rearguard. Counterblast 1 card with Beast Deity in its card name. And then during your battle phase, when this unit stands, if you have Nova Grappler Vanguard, and you pay the cost, you get to stand one of your other Nova Grappler rearguards. So he's basically like, you could stand 2 columns with 2 drive checks of Ethics Buster Extreme. So normally my field setup is him with Vibro in front of him, so they can pressure hard together, because with Vibro he can restand Max Beast, and then Vibro restand Papio. Sorry, I don't know why I keep calling him Vibro. And then you also have your Hatred Chaos with your Ride Horn, and Blank Marsh behind your Extreme. That's normally the best setup that I find. But yeah, he's very good, very important card, and just helps with keeping on that consistent, you know, you have to guard with 10k. So he's very, very important, just very helpful in that sense. So I recommend 4, no less. And then we have 3 Beast Deity Solar Falcon. Now, because of how aggressive the deck is and everything, and you want to play Nova Grappler style, it's pure Nova Grappler style. So, you only want 3 of these, even with the current meta. You only need 3 perfect guards because it's just too heavy on you. The 4 perfect guards harms you more than it does your opponent because of how pressure heavy you're supposed to, pressure. But then running into one of these actually screws you over quite a bit if you have too many. So I only need 3. Just like Spike Brothers, you don't want too many, but you still need them because they are very important. So 3's enough. It's fine. And I really have no other way. I have no other thing to take out really, unless I take out a grade 2, which would be a Bibo. But no, then you wouldn't be playing Nova Grapplers. Go play a different deck. But yeah, I had to cope with this too. I figured out how to use it, and it is just it's amazing. So because I was used to having big hand decks, but that pressure nicely, like Coco Cookie deck. So then we have 3 Beast Deity Desert Gator, 10k beaters, and then 3 Beast Deity Blank Marsh. So the guy you normally want behind your Vanguard, because what he does is Counterblast 1, put it into your soul. When attack hits a Vanguard that this unit boosted, a Nova Grappler, you pay the cost, and you get to choose a card with Beast Deity in its card name, a rear guard with Beast Deity in the card name, and stand it. So you could possibly just stand Max Beast, and then stand, Max Beast, and stand Vibro, and start doing that dirty combo that I was talking about. But yeah, he just helps you get another stand and drop another 10k from your opponent. So if all this pressure from Extreme and everything wasn't enough, you have this to deal with behind the Vanguard if the Vanguard hits. So now you definitely have to make sure the Vanguard cannot hit me, or else he's gonna stand even more. And that's after your twin drive check too, that you get to use it. So you know when to use it and when to not use it. That's the thing as well. But yeah, so on to triggers. So we have 7 stand, 4 Beast Deity Bright Cobra, and 3 Cannonball. Oh, I love Cannonball. I just love like the artwork and everything. And then 5 critical, 4 Red Lightning, and 1 Beast Deity Death Stinger, and then 4 heal. Beast Deity Rescue Bunny. So I'm gonna go here for a second and explain the trigger lineup real quick, and then we'll end off the video. So with the trigger lineup, I tried 6 crit, 6 stand, and I found I was pulling too many crits and not enough stand. Then I tried 8 stand and 4 crits, and I found I was pulling way too many stands and not enough crits. So then I was like, well, that one didn't work. This one didn't work. So why not let's try the middle? Because, you know, the last one I try always seems to work because that's just what happens to me. So I tried 7 stand and 5 crit, and it worked perfectly. I had enough crits, I had enough stands when I needed them, and there weren't overly many of each. So this trigger lineup is the preferred one because of how the deck plays, and you know the meta with you do need the criticals, but you know the stands are very important in the deck still, especially even early on. So it balanced out the deck the most and gave it its best potential. Um, of course, red lightning is really important because you know unflipping stuff with all these counter blasts. Um, it's only 4 cards. It's not a big deal. If you get a heal, heal it off. um, but yeah, so that's basically my explanation on the trigger lineup. And with that, that means goodbye, my friends. So the description in the below will have this decreased, and don't forget the Twitter and the Facebook and the Skype. They will all be down there. You can check them out, and don't forget to like and comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. And I will see you guys next time with my sexy accent. Goodbye.